Hello, 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 hello. My name is Nakia. Welcome to my channel. Today, we are here to talk about what you wanted to talk about, which is my favorite horror movies. Who knew? So, come back after the intro and let's get into it. All right, so I was actually surprised. I did a poll. If you don't check my community tab, you may want to start checking it because I realize sometimes I'm stumped over what video I want to do, like when I have choices, and it's like, wait, why don't I check to see what people want to see? So I will be posting them more often when I'm trying to decide between an idea or two, or maybe a book or two or three. So like I said, make sure you check my community tab, or I think it also will show up in your homepage, but maybe not for everyone. So you could just go to my community tab. Just, check it once a day. But yeah, I also have my special guest here, my cat Wheezy. I don't know if you can see him, but if not, I probably will be petting him. So, that's what I'm doing over here. It's not an imaginary cat. He just likes to be in my videos now. Yeah, so again, this was an idea that just popped in my head one day. I was like, I wonder if I should ever talk about my favorite horror movies because I mention them in videos here and there when I'm talking about certain books. But I was like, I don't know if anybody wants to see that. So again, I did a poll and you will see I will pop it up here on the screen. It was by overwhelming majority. You all want to know what I like. So here we are. I will say I had a hard time narrowing this list down. First of all, we have the lucky number 13. I'm going to try to make it quick, but I was like, I don't know, because there's a difference between like the scariest horror movies and then my favorites. And, there are just so many. I have a long list. Even these 13 that I picked to talk about today are not it. I have tons and tons of horror movies that I love. But again, I narrowed it down to these 13. So I guess we'll just get into it. Okay, so these are in no particular order. Now, I have some hints around me here and there. So if you're paying attention, you already know some of the answers. But again, this is in no particular order. It's not like my favorite. It's funny, when I did the Dilemmas of a Horror Nerd tag, and one of the questions was, like people always ask you, what's wrong with you? I've never had anybody ask me that. But I have had people ask me what my favorite horror movie is. And I can't stand that question because I'm just like, I can't pick one. That's like if someone has 6, 7 kids, ask them to pick their favorite child. Or if you have 4 or 5 pets, ask you to pick your favorite. I have 2, and I'm not going to say which one is my favorite. I love them both. But yeah, so it's just too many to name one. I could give you a bunch. Or if you say, what's your favorite found footage horror movie? Or what's your favorite, I don't know. There's a bunch. So without further ado, as I said, this will be in no particular order. It's not going to be like my least favorite to my most favorite. I love these all, and for different reasons, as you will see. So let's just get into it. That's enough of the intro. I guess, I will start with an older movie. I'm going to jump around a little bit, but I'll start with the older movie. One of my favorite horror movies is The Wolfman, representing. And I would say half these movies, or more than half, I watch every week or at least once a month. So they're favorites. But The Wolfman, first of all, I love old classic horror movies. I love old black and white movies, period. I have a large movie poster on my wall in my living room of Vincent Price. I don't have a Vincent Price movie on this list, but I do love a Vincent Price movie that I watch all the time. Many of his movies. Anyway, I digress. But The Wolfman, it is classic. I just love with 50s movies, their style, how classy they were, the costumes, the dress. But this was the way of life back then. But Lon Chaney Jr., just loved him. And the transformation to Wolfman still holds up for me today. You can pretty much tell how they did it with the morphing, but I don't care. I still loved it. And we all know that is what inspired the Thriller music video with Michael Jackson. Even when he's like Lon Chaney Jr. and the woman in the movie, I don't remember her name, but when they're walking in the, the little field, whatever, and there's the smoke, the mist, same thing Michael Jackson did in Thriller. But yeah, like I said, his transformation to the Wolfman, I loved it. I love the gypsy woman with her, the way you walk, it's funny. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I did know it by heart at one point and then I've lost it. But anyway, I love that. Yeah, just the way they handled it. I just love that movie. And again, old classic movies are just cozy for me. I love back then how it was just not so gory, graphic, over the top. You know, I think pretty much most old classic movies get like a PG rating if you go to Turner Classic Movies or whatever. But yeah, so classic, love it. Moving on. I guess we'll bring it a little more current to one of my favorite found footage movies. And it's not what you think. This is one that I feel is underrated. I don't even remember how I found out about this movie. I think I went to Redbox back in the day and I just went and saw it there and I was like, what's this? Because I used to do that at Blockbuster back in the day. I would just go down the aisle and just look at the cases and be like, this looks good, I'll try this. And then when Redbox got popular, I used to do the same thing there. I didn't know what I wanted to watch. I would just go to Redbox and be like, horror, okay, let's try it. But this movie would be The Taking of Deborah Logan. If you have not seen this movie, you need to check it out. If you like found footage movies, if you don't like them, don't watch it. But this movie is about a documentary crew that go to, they're doing a documentary about Alzheimer's. And there's this woman that her daughter, I guess, volunteered her to be the subject of this documentary. And she's just doing a lot of strange things. But some of the things she's doing in this movie do not line up with Alzheimer's. And it just goes some wild places. But the ending is what got me. It still haunts my dreams. I can still see it vividly in my mind. If you've seen it, you know. But there's a scene with this woman in a cave. And that's all I'm going to say because I don't want to ruin anything. But I have never seen anything like that on film. It was special effects, but it was so well done that it was just like, I was like, what the hell? Yeah, so I just love that movie. It's one of the best found footage movies, as I've said. So I recommend it. Check it out. Moving on. I guess I should say this list, like I said, I think I already said this in the beginning, but they're not necessarily the most scary to me because, again, I've said this before in other videos. It takes a lot to scare me. I have had some movies that creep me out. Taking of Deborah Logan was one, but these are just movies. Usually I love them for the special effects. I am a big fan of practical makeup effects. So a lot of the times I will love the practical makeup effects in the movie or the storyline or both. Or if it just got me with a twist to it, something like that. Or like I said, it's just something that's cozy for me. There's people who don't think horror movies are cozy at all, but they are to me. So anyway, moving on. Next, we will bring it around to one that you are probably very familiar with. Everybody's familiar with, but if you're watching my channel, I'm sure you are. And that would be the classic, The Shining with Jack Nicholson. Now, I know, because I hear people here on BookTube all the time say the book is way better than the movie. I have not read the book. I probably won't read it because I've seen content warnings about racial slurs. I've heard many people say they did not like the use of the N-word in the book. I'm not here for it, so I probably won't read it. But I've seen the movie 1,000 times and I love the movie. I love the snow part of it, how they're shut in the wintertime, and just Jack Nicholson's performance all together. It's just a classic. But Stanley Kubrick's directing, it's just some of the best visual stuff. Like, I love the scene with the little boy on his little tricycle, how he did the sound effect where you could hear him when he's on the floor, on the tile or whatever, and then he gets on the carpet. Just, like I said, it's just visually stunning. And like I said, to watch Jack Nicholson's character unravel through the movie, I love it. Like I said, that is one I put on probably every week. And I actually put it on to go to bed. It's soothing to me. I hardly ever get to the part where he's trying to, spoiler alert, where he's trying to kill his family. But before that, just the creepiness, the coziness of it, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Classic. I'm jumping around on my list, so I'm hoping I'm keeping everything straight. I should be like checking things off as I talk about them, but I'm trying to keep track. Okay, then we'll go to another classic, a little more current than The Shining, and that would be Poltergeist. I mean, come on now. I was a kid when this movie came out. I saw it when I was little. Don't think I was scared of it. It's funny. I showed it to my daughter when she was little, and she was like, I don't like it. Turn it off. And I was like, excuse you, this is baby horror. She can watch it now because I broke her. Made her watch more stuff. But anyway, I just love Poltergeist. Since I am a child of the 80s, it's now nostalgic for me to watch it and see all the stuff that just reminds me of my childhood. But other than that, it does have genuinely creepy stuff. I mean, the clown, for me, it's funny. More people probably found the clown creepy. For me, it was the tree. I don't know. I always had this thing with like inanimate objects when I was a kid, like when the lights go out, you know, thinking you see something move, like you could just look at a lamp. I'm looking at my own lamp, but you could just see a lamp and all of a sudden you think it moved, and that kind of stuff bothered me more. I did think my dolls came to life, but it was more like the Child's Play, Chucky, I didn't have any clown stuff. So that didn't bother me. But yeah, and then the skeletons and the pool, and once again, practical makeup effects. I mean, there are special effects in it too. And of course, my favorite scene is when the paranormal investigator, I think that's what he was, when he goes into the bathroom and he's seeing things. And if you know, you know. I love that scene. It's like a little funny now because you can tell it's a puppet mixed with real effects, but I just love it. It's still gross. And again, I love it. It's actually creepier now when you know some of the real life stuff that happened behind the scenes. Yeah, so I've seen countless documentaries about how the movie was cursed. And like I said, that makes it creepier to me to watch it, knowing all that stuff and that, you know, certain people died and all that. But anyway, yeah, so again, Poltergeist, classic. I also watch that probably once a month. It is a must at Halloween time. But again, I watch it almost like once a month. So especially because it's on HBO Max, I believe. So I can just throw it on whenever I want. But yeah, let's move on to another one. I guess I am trying to save some of my favorites for last, but I'll throw one in here now. Another one that is a classic for me, that is from my childhood, is the Tales from the Dark Side movie. I have 2 movies on this list that are anthology movies. I love an anthology movie, but it's funny when it comes to like short story collection books, I'm kind of like, eh. But the movies, yes. Tales from the Dark Side of the movie, if you haven't seen it, you should check it out. I love every story of the movie, but my favorite one is Lot, I think it's 249, I think. I'm gonna put it up here if I'm wrong. But yeah, that one that deals with the mummy, and classic with Christian Slater and Steve Buscemi. Like I said, I just love that movie. Once again, good practical makeup effects, that mummy. Yes. But the story that stuck with me when I was a child, I probably had no business watching it, but we used to be able to see anything. But the story that stuck with me and haunted me was Lover's Vow. That one with James Remar. Like I said, when you get to the ending, it starts off one way, and then it's like it goes through 3 different genres. It starts off seeming more like an action movie, then it gets to like a romance, and then the horror part comes in. And when you get to the ending, it's just like, it just rips your heart out, but it's also creepy. I love it. So that story in particular is my favorite one, but I love every story of that movie. That's another one I probably put on once or twice a month. And it's a must at Halloween time. Again, it would probably be in this category for practical effects, but also, as I said, that story just stuck with me. Yes, classic. Okay, and so we'll bring it current again. I feel like I've done a lot of older ones, so let's bring it current. Of course, you can't talk horror movies without talking about the Insidious movies. Now, I love Leigh Whannell and James Wan together. Those 2 Australian dudes know how to make some scary movies. Those 2 together, I just love it. The first Insidious wasn't as scary to me. I mean, I liked it. I enjoyed like the beginning of it, but when it got more to like where it's supposed to be scary, it didn't scare me. There were some good, you know, practical makeup effects, but I didn't find it scary. The second and the third one, though, we can talk. The second one got scarier. The third one is probably my favorite. And I was like, before I was getting ready to record this video, I wanted to go look up all the directors' names and everything, make sure I had everything right. I already pretty much knew, but I wanted to make sure I don't want to mess up anything. And I saw that Leigh Whannell wrote and directed the third one. The other 2, he just wrote. So it was like, no wonder, because I love his directing style. So of course. But the third one just had some creepy things in that movie. There's this like really skinny, supposed to be like sickly looking old man in that movie. Ugh, he just gives me the creeps. And just like, it's not the same family as the first 2. It's this girl who her mother has died. And it's just her and her father, and, you know, her dealing with grief. And she starts to see things, like they think she has the ability that she can see ghosts. She ends up getting hit by a car and being bedridden. And then so things ensue from there. And like I said, I just love Insidious 3. It's my favorite one, but I enjoy all of them. I put them all on. They're all a must at Halloween time. But 2 and 3 are the scarier ones to me. And the third one is to me the best. But you can disagree. Sure you do. But again, I still love all the Insidious movies. And moving on. Next up, I'll go to another found footage movie. I think it's the only other one on this list. This is another one I don't know if a lot of people know about, but I found out about this one, I think, through a Looper list. I've talked about them in another video, but there's a channel on YouTube on here called Looper, and they talk about a lot of movie stuff. Lately, they've been more focusing on like specific shows, like they've done a whole bunch of videos on WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier and stuff like that. But every now and then, they do list videos where they'll say like the scariest movies on Netflix or horror movies people were too afraid to finish. So I think this was in a video about found footage movies, or I'm not sure. But either way, I'm glad I found out about it. It's called Grave Encounters 2. The first one, I think I tried to check out and wasn't here for that one. But the second one is basically like a play on all the paranormal investigation shows, documentary type reality shows. There's a fictional show in the movie called Grave Encounters, I believe. And they decide to go stay overnight in this haunted asylum or whatever. But of course, the place is really haunted. And it was one of the scariest movies, found footage wise. Until recently, I just saw one this past Halloween, which I could talk about that maybe around Halloween time. And once again, there were some good practical makeup effects that just, when you watch it in the dark. Of course, because it's found footage, it starts off like, you know, them all being silly and joking around and all that stuff. But when the ish hits the fan, it hits the fan. And it just gets worse and worse and worse. And just, whew, like I said, I love it. That one I don't watch as often, but it is a must at Halloween time. And again, I still will put it as one of my favorites because when I think about like best found footage movies, I always think about Taking of Deborah Logan and Grave Encounters 2. Yes. Let's move on. Okay, and now we'll go to one that should be pretty obvious. I have my little pop toy here. This is Harold, and he comes from the book Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, but also the movie Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I was so excited about this movie, and it's delivered. Because I just recently read my Scary Stories Treasury book, which had Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, More Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, and Scary Stories 3. All 3 books bound up in one. So I now know that all the stories in the movie are from all 3 books. I didn't know that. But it's not an anthology, but the way they weaved all of the different stories together, I loved it. But mainly the practical makeup effects. They were so good. And I'm pretty sure it was a PG-13 movie, but it's still creepy. I just loved it because it was bringing my childhood to life. And like I said, in a creepy way. It wasn't cheesy, funny like that Goosebumps movie with Jack Black. We need to talk about that. But anyway, yeah, I loved it. I know they're making a second one. I hope it's as good, but I put that movie on probably every week. A lot of times I just love a darker mood in movies, but I don't need a lot happening to make me like not want to go to sleep, which is rare, but I don't want things seeping into my dreams. So I usually put on things that are like slower at first, and then when stuff happens, I'm asleep by then. But either way, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, I can watch a lot of the stuff. It wouldn't give me nightmares, but again, it's just one, I love the mood of it. It takes place, I think, like in the 70s, I think. But anyway, so yeah, love it, love it, love it. Can't wait for the second one. Moving on. So we might as well talk about another one that I've talked about before on this channel. If you know me, you would know the answer because I've talked about it on this channel. Creepshow. That one, I guess I would say, if someone said, what is your favorite horror movie? If I had to pick one, this is the one that always comes to my mind first. It is Creepshow. I love it, love it, love it. I've seen it 100,000 times. I can quote stuff, have my favorite quotes. There's things I just say around the house for fun. But yeah, it's funny. I put on Creepshow for the Father's Day story on Father's Day, on Mother's Day. I just love it. Again, that one's from my childhood. I saw it when I was a kid. But the one that got me the most, and I've talked about this before, is they're creeping up on you. I cannot stand roaches. And that one has roaches in it. And it just, every time I see it, I start scratching, I start itching. It's just, I've seen it 1,000 times and it still gets under my skin. That is one of the main reasons I love it. But it also has, it's a story and a meaning and message. And classic. It also put together Stephen King, George A. Romero, and Tom Savini. I mean, just stop right there. Stop right there. If you don't know, you don't know. But if you know, you know. Stephen King wrote it. He's also in it. George A. Romero directed it. And Tom Savini, the makeup, special effects makeup genius. worked on it. So of course, everything is just, yes. As I said, I love the movie. Love it, love it. If I was going to get one horror related tattoo, that'd probably be it. Maybe this, or the font. But yeah, I just love Creepshow. So that tells you about me right there. Let's move on. And I guess while I have my setup back here, we'll talk about another one that's represented back here. Psycho by Alfred Hitchcock. That is another one I watch every week. Again, I love my old black and white classic movies, but Psycho, that's one movie that I wish I could travel back in time and experience, because every time I hear about how people were just shocked that Janet Leigh's character was killed off because she was like a main, A-list actor back then. And I'm just like, I don't get that shock, because by the time I saw it, I already knew she was going to die. Everybody knows the famous scene in the shower. But I just wish I could experience what the audience experienced seeing it for the first time. But it's the kind of movie, people always say she dies quick in the movie. She doesn't die that fast. She lasts for about a good 45 minutes. It's a long movie, but she's in it for about a good 45 minutes. I mean, sometimes you forget it's a horror movie because her part of the movie is more like a thriller. Her character is like, she's like stealing money or whatever. And the police are chasing her. And that's when she goes and stops at the Bates Motel. And then, of course, we all know from there. But I mean, classic. Nobody that I have seen tops Hitchcock with the way he directs. Just his camera angles and just so much. But it doesn't matter how many times I've seen it. Every time we get to the reveal with Norman Bates' mom being dead in the house and him having the wig on and everything, it just gets me every time. Every time. But also, he's just creepy. I mean, yeah, he's a weirdo. He's creepy. And I don't care how many times you've seen it. You don't want to deal with him. You don't want to meet him. You wouldn't want to meet anybody like that. Don't want to go to the Bates Motel. I don't care. You've been on a road trip. You've seen some creepy looking hotel on the side of the road, motel. You think about this movie. Classic. Classic. It doesn't scare me, but it's disturbing. And that scene in the shower, every time I've seen it. And see, that's another thing. That's how you do it. They didn't even show much, but just what you see is just so brutal. The amount of times that she gets stabbed, it's like every time I see it, and I've seen it 100 times, I can feel it. And it's just, oh. Then there's the mystery, with her family. Once she dies, her family's trying to find her. And then they get to the hotel. I love when the cop comes and he's talking to Norman Bates. Just, love it, love it, love it. Anyway, moving on. All right. Now we're going to talk about some movies that are appropriate for right now. I'm recording this in June of 2021. So this third movie just got released on Friday. I will be seeing it next Friday because I went to the movies to see A Quiet Place 2 this weekend. So I'll be seeing this movie next weekend. But that would be The Conjuring 3. And I love all the Conjuring movies. I have not seen the third one, but I'm sure I'll love it. But my favorite one is the second one. I put this on all the time too. I put the first one on too, but the second one I love because it's in the UK. Once again, the atmosphere. But for some reason, I don't know why, my favorite scene is when the Crooked Man character, supposed to be like in this little wind up spinning toy thing. I don't even remember. But when he comes to life, that was one of the creepiest things when I saw it in the theater. I was like, oh, hell no. I could not imagine you being a child. And there's this creepy looking thing that's in a book or something. And it just gets up and starts walking and coming to life. But again, it's always the jump scares and all of that. I love all the Conjuring movies. Yeah, love it. Not much more I can say. Again, waiting on the third one. If you've seen it, let me know in the comments what you thought about it. But that's all. No spoilers. Moving on. All right. Now, we're going to talk about Leigh Whannell again because I love him. Yeah, I do. I said it. I enjoyed Invisible Man. I'm looking forward to his Wolfman movie. Can't wait. I already know it's going to be good. I'm not worried. But it's another franchise, bunch of sequels. You should probably know where I'm going with this. I love the Saw movies. I love them all. I love them all. I've talked about this briefly in another video, but because I know people have called it torture porn, it is not that to me. I just love what Jigsaw does with the contraptions he creates. They're so creative, but also just why he creates them, the people he chooses, and they can get out of it. So it's not torture. He's not just torturing people just for the fun of it. they can get out of it. There have been some who've gotten out of it. So there's that. But also, I can watch a movie like that when we're following a cop too. I love that side of it when there's the cop putting together the puzzles, jigsaw. Yes. But when they're trying to figure out things, but the first one will always be the best. That is the one I put on all the time, a couple times a month, because the twist to that movie, if you don't know, I don't want to spoil it, but that one was one, everybody was talking about it when it came out. When I saw it, I was like, what the? Okay. That's one that I quote to. I love to say, game over. But I dressed up as Jigsaw the Puppet for Halloween. I'll put a picture up here. But yeah, so I love the Saw movie. Oh, I have not seen Spiral yet with Chris Rock, but I will see that one too. I will probably see any Saw movie they put out because I love them. I do. Puts together my two things, puzzles, gore. There you go. Moving on. Well, boys and girls, we have come to the end of the video. I have one more movie to talk about. I guess I kind of saved one of my other favorites for last. But again, this wasn't no order. I jumped all around, but this one is one of my favorites. And it's also a clue somewhere around here. That would be Get Out by Jordan Peele. If you've seen this pop toy here and you didn't know what it was, that's what it is. This is Chris from Get Out. I have another pop toy that I'll pop up here sometimes. It's Chris when he's sitting in the chair. It's funny. I remember when this movie was coming out, everybody was talking about, oh, it's going to be a black horror movie or it's black director, black cast. And everybody was like, you know, thinking it was going to be a comedy, silly, because, you know, we got the Meet the Black Family movies or whatever they're called. I don't even know. The scary movie Wayans movies that are spoofs. So I wasn't sure what to expect with this movie. And then when you saw the trailer, didn't really know what to expect. And I'm pretty sure I saw it opening weekend, so nothing was spoiled for me. This movie. I love it, love it, love it. It just like Jordan Peele put so much into it. You could tell he deserved that Academy Award. Every time I see it, I see something new. I appreciate something. I have the Blu-ray, so I've seen all the, I've watched it with commentary. I've seen behind the scenes stuff. No matter how much I learn, I just appreciate it more and more. But just like the story, just what he did with it. And it's one of those movies where when you get to the end, and you realize what's going on, at least for me, you still are like, I know this is not what I think it is. I remember when it was like getting to the reveal of what was going on. I remember being like, why is she in the picture with them? Or, okay. Until it gets to the, if you know, you already know. Give me the keys, Rose. Give me the keys. When it gets to that, and she's like, no, I can't do that, babe. What? Wait. But then when we get to the gore, I loved it. We had to have some. I love the acting. Daniel Kaluuya, I am a fan. I have not seen everything he's done, but Get Out was just, I could watch it. I do watch it 100,000 times. I know so much of the movie. We have lines we quote around the house. It is one of my favorite horror movies. I just love it. Love it, love it, love it. So there you have it. I hope you're happy. Got me all exposed and stuff. No, but it's just like when you're part of the horror community, it's one of those things, I guess, like anything you're into where people want to know what you like, what's your favorite this, what's your favorite that, so they can judge you. And you're just like, I don't want to say why. But yeah, so it's kind of one of those things where it's like, because, everybody likes what they like. I used to love the slasher movies. I do still love Halloween. I watch Halloween movies every Halloween. Nobody liked Michael Myers. And I can still enjoy Friday the 13th. I used to love Freddy Krueger. I still do appreciate Nightmare on Elm Street movies. When I was a kid, he was my favorite. But as I've gotten older and I realize, I try to be more conscious of what I consume and let into my psyche. I'm not into the same things I used to be into. These are the type of horror movies that I enjoy. I love to watch over and over and over again. As I'm older and as I said, more conscious of what I consume, I prefer horror movies that deal with ghosts, exorcisms, that variety, or, if it's real life monsters, the things that aren't necessarily so realistic, that's just more what I prefer. The home invasion ones, when I saw The Strangers, that movie disturbed me. And I've seen the other one, Strangers Pray at Night, I think it's called. But now it's just like, I just don't choose to watch those kind of things over and over and over again. Like I said, I prefer like the haunted house and demons and stuff like that. That's just my preference now. So That is why you have this list. Guess you learned a little more about me, I suppose. Let me know in the comments what some of your favorite horror movies are. I would love to know. Or if you don't even like scary movies, you can let me know that too. I understand. I get it. It's not for everyone. But yeah, I've loved horror movies since I was a child and probably will to the day I die. So anyway, that wraps up this video. And for all my new subscribers, thank you so much. And all my lovely comments I get during the week. I've said this before, but I so appreciate each and every one of you. I try to let you all know all the time because I do mean it. I do mean it. I appreciate you all so much. So if you are not subscribed, subscribe. What are you waiting for? I normally do TBR videos, wrap-ups, some book reviews, some vlogs, some tags, and, you know, random chit-chats here and there. So yeah, join the family. I mainly read thrillers, mystery, sci-fi, and horror, of course. So I'd love to have you join the family. But that's it for me for today. So until next time, snuggle up in your hideaway with a good book, unplug as much as possible, especially from the news. Be kind to all kind, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.